welcome to Prep Eve, where we revolutionize how you prepare for IELTS. Today we are back with the writing task 2, and so far we have completed the very first directive, which is choose a side. So I hope you guys are clear with how you have to attempt any question that ends with the directive type choose a side. Alright, so hello everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So, all of you, please give a thumbs up to the video if you have liked the previous one, because this one is going to be even better than the previous one, because today we'll be moving on to the next directive. Along with that, we are also going to move on to the second parameter, which is cohesion and coherence. So far in the last 4 or 5 sessions, I guess, we have dealt with task response, right? We have focused on the very first factor on which you will be assessed, which is task response. And today we'll be shifting our focus to cohesion and coherence. So all of you who were writing in the chat box that you wanted to learn more about the connectors, today is the day. You need to stay focused throughout the session. And it's not just about connectors. We'll be learning how to write the essay advantages and disadvantages, and along with that we'll also learn how to write the conclusion. So this is a wholesome package. You'll learn a lot of things today: how to write the essay for advantages and disadvantages directive, how to conclude your essay, and along with that you'll learn about the second parameter, which is cohesion and coherence. Alright, so let's move ahead. This is a little about us. So you guys are aware of Prep Eve now. So we have been teaching for the last 3 years, and we have trained more than 1400, or actually it's 1500 now, students on our one-to-one platform, and we have also catered to more than 35,000 subscribers on YouTube. So you guys have helped us a lot in building upon our teaching skills, and as well as, it's a give and take kind of a situation. So I would also like to thank you guys for supporting us and for being with us throughout this journey, and thank you for liking our content. So thank you so much for that, and let's move on. So far you were seeing this slide and it talked about task response. Today this slide is talking about coherence and cohesion. Okay, so anybody who wants to tell me what this parameter is all about? Any attempts? So, okay, I'll also revise what is task response. We had to follow 4 things in task response. Number 1 was to responding to each part of the task. So all the questions, all the parts of the questions had to be addressed. That was the first and foremost thing. The second one was that you have to write a minimum of 250 words so that you suffice the need of the task response parameter. And the third one was that you have to take a stance and stick by it throughout your essay. So whatever your opinion is, you have to stick to that opinion and go forward with the same opinion from your introduction to your conclusion. Last but not the least, the fourth thing that you had to focus on the task response parameter was that you had to elaborate and give a detailed explanation by giving supporting ideas and examples for each of your points. So that was our first parameter. Today we are moving to this one. So take a close look at the table. So this table is the band descriptor for coherence and cohesion parameter. So you have to read it with me. So here let's see what you need to get a 9 band score in this particular parameter. So first of all, use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. So you have to use cohesion. Cohesion basically means your linking words or your connectors in such a way that it attracts no attention. It should not feel unnecessary. It should not feel inappropriate. So you have to make sure that wherever you're using your linking words or connectors, they basically seem natural. They shouldn't feel unusual. Okay, it should be natural in your flow of writing. So when the reader is reading your essay, they do not feel that something is wrong. Okay, it should come out naturally, and your connector should not attract any attention. Okay, that's the very first thing that you should follow to get 9 bands here. Second is skillfully manages paragraphing. So here you have to manage paragraphing well. You have to sequence your ideas in such a way that you paragraph them properly, and the reader or the examiner, when they're going through your essay, there shouldn't be any hiccups. They shouldn't feel that what's wrong, like why is the flow not smooth, or how did this person start talking about a different topic all of a sudden, or a different idea all of a sudden. So it should be smooth, and the paragraphing should make the sequencing of your ideas very clear. All right, so this is what you ideally have to do to score a 9 band score. However, even if we score 7 here, that would help us in scoring around 7 bands overall in the entire writing task. So let's have a look at that you're writing in your essay. It should be logically organized. It should not be haphazard. Okay, it should have a meaning to its sequencing. The way you're writing your ideas should be very clear. So there is a clear progression throughout. So progression of your thoughts should be very clear. Why did you move from thought A to thought B? That should be very smooth and clear. So you need to organize your ideas logically. Second thing that they say is that you have to use a range of cohesive devices appropriately, although there may be some under or over usage. So basically they're saying if you score a 7 band score in this particular parameter, then that is because you have mostly used cohesive devices or your connectors properly, but somewhere or the other you have overused it or you have underused it. So basically it is kind of gaining attention. So to avoid this attention, you have to avoid this part. There should be no underusage or overusage. Okay, last but not the least is presents a clear central topic within each paragraph. So you should be clear about what you're writing in your paragraph. So there shouldn't be any confusion. So if you follow these 3 things, you will be able to score a 7 band score in this particular parameter. Okay, so do you want to see what the 6 band score says? Okay, so arranges information and ideas coherently. There is a clear overall progression. Uses cohesive devices, but cohesion with or between sentences may be faulty or mechanical. It should not be mechanical, it should not be faulty, it should not gain any attention. It should be very, very natural. Okay, only where the connector is needed, you have to write it there. Unnecessary usage of connector would backfire, so you should not be using them unnecessarily. Uses paragraphing, but not always logically. So yes, you're using 4 paragraphs, you're writing 4 paragraphs, but from where you have to start a new paragraph, you're not very clear about it, and your sequencing of thoughts is haphazard. So that thing should be avoided, and may not always use referencing clearly or appropriately. What is referencing? Referencing basically means that when you've already used a noun, okay, and you're referring to that noun again. Let's say you are talking about children, and then you have written one sentence about children, like you can say, children are going to school. Okay, that's your first sentence. The next sentence is that the children are studying science. Okay, that could be your second sentence. So if you're writing children, again, you're not using referencing. You should have instead used it. Instead use they. So children, instead of children, you'll use they are studying science. Okay, and another example could be if you're using, for example, the car is okay, let's say he or she is going in a car. Okay, so it is red in color. So you're using it instead of using car again. So that's referencing. Instead of using the same word again, you're referencing it by using it or they or he or she. These are called pronouns. Okay, so this is what this parameter is actually about, and this is the minimum that you have to score, 7 scores. So make sure that you suffice these three factors properly and focus on these. Okay, this should be your target, but at least you will fall somewhere here. So let's have a look at the 4 bands as well to know what you shouldn't be doing. So presents information and ideas, but these are not arranged coherently and there is no clear progression in the response. So you should do the opposite of this. You should present the ideas in a clear manner, coherently, and the progression should also be organized and very clear. So uses some basic devices, cohesive devices, but these may be inaccurate or repetitive. Again, no repetition is allowed, and inaccurate usage, so unnecessary usage, over usage, under usage, inaccurate usage, all these 4 things would attract the attention of the examiner and you will end up scoring way lesser than what you need. So you have to make sure that you do not use the words inappropriately or where it's not required. Okay, may not write in paragraphs or they use may be confusing. So if you write in just one paragraph the entire essay, and if you don't form introduction, two body paragraphs and one conclusion, then it would be very confusing. So may not write in paragraphs or their use may be confusing. So you might end up confusing the reader by not using paragraphs properly. So far with regards to this particular slide, is there any problem? So Sunrise Mobile is asking, can we use contractions in essays? I would suggest that you should not do that. So do not use any contractions. In any of your writings, contractions are meant for your speaking task. So in your speaking, you can use as many contractions as you want to, but avoid it in your writing. Okay, Sudhir was right. So Sudhir mentioned that it's about how well ideas and arguments are connected to each other. Absolutely correct. So that is what it means. Superb lecture. Thank you so much. It just started. Okay, so Monica, I mentioned in the previous session as well that that is a hypothetical example. So you can give any example. It was just one hypothetical example. So you can use an example for Delhi for Commonwealth. Is it okay to give this example? Being in India, that many of my friends had never heard of Delhi. So you can change the name. Instead of Delhi, you can write London or you can write Tokyo. So that does not really matter. Give any name and your example is anyway hypothetical. So you don't have to worry about that. So I hope your doubt has been cleared, Monica. And if others are getting confused, so she is basically referring to the previous session. So that was discussed in the last one. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is what you need to do to get a higher score in your coherence and cohesion parameter. So what do we have to do? Number one, we have to logically sequence our ideas. Logical sequencing of ideas is a must. This is what you have to do. The sequencing of your ideas, whether idea A should be placed first or idea A should be placed second or idea B should be placed fourth or third. So the sequencing of your ideas should be very clear and logical. It should make sense. Okay. So this is logical sequencing of ideas. similar ideas should be clubbed together. For example, advantages should be clubbed together, disadvantages should be clubbed together. If you start writing it alternately, then the examiner or the reader would get confused. Imagine that you're writing one advantage, then you're writing one disadvantage, then again you're writing one advantage, then one disadvantage. Imagine how confusing the sequence would be for the reader. They will not understand whether you're focusing on advantages or whether you're focusing on disadvantages. So this is what we should be making sure, that whatever ideas we write, okay, those ideas should be relevant. Only if they're relevant, we score good in our task response parameter. But what if the sequencing goes wrong? Yes, you'll score 7 or 8 band scores in your task response, but in your coherence and cohesion, you will end up scoring 5 because the sequencing was so messed up. So not only we have to write relevant ideas, we also have to sequence those ideas in a very logical manner. So here the focus is going to be on the logical sequencing of ideas, and one example has been given to you, which is combining advantages together and disadvantages together. The second thing we have to do to maintain our coherence is that write in a structured manner. So we can write logical sequences, but we also have to place them in appropriate paragraphs. So there should be a well structured manner in which you write. So one prototype, or I would say one way of writing, is this way, that you write your introduction, first body paragraph, second body paragraph, and conclusion. So if you streamline your writing and if you write in this way, you'll be basically in a position to have a well structured essay with well sequenced ideas that are relevant. Okay, so far this is what you have to focus on to get a better score in your coherence part. What about cohesion? Cohesion basically means how well you connect your sentences with each other and the paragraphs with one another. So basically you have to connect one sentence to another and also one paragraph to the other paragraph. There should be a smooth transition from one paragraph to another. It should not feel abrupt. It should not feel like there's some hiccup, or it's not very smooth. It should feel flawless while someone is reading your essay. They should not say ये कहाँ से आ गया, that kind of a factor should not be there. It should be very smooth while they're moving from introduction to first body paragraph, from first body paragraph to second body paragraph, and from second body paragraph to the conclusion. So the transition should be very smooth. Okay, so how can we make the transition smooth? The only way of doing that is by using connectors or the linking words appropriately. Now this is the word that needs to be highlighted, okay, appropriately, to connect your sentences and paragraphs. So appropriate usage means there should be no overusage, no underusage, no inaccurate usage, no irrelevant usage. Just when it's needed, you have to use your connectors. They should not gain any unnecessary attraction. It should be very natural. Okay, so moving back, read these things once again. So uses cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. So here we mean to say no attention should be attracted. And the other thing is skillfully manages paragraphing, which is done by using these things. So you have to use these paragraphs to make skillful usage of paragraphing by sequencing your ideas in a logical manner. All right. Can we use idioms in essays? I would recommend you not to do that, because if you use idioms, you might end up using them incorrectly. So, till the time you're not very sure about it, do not use it. However, if you ask me, I would recommend you to never use idioms, because when you can simply write something, why do you want to use idioms and make it complicated unnecessarily? Okay, I guess that's it. So far, this is what you have to follow to increase your band scores in coherence and cohesion parameter. First, you have to sequence your ideas properly in appropriate paragraphs and use the connectors or the linking words in a natural manner. It should not be unusual. Okay, coming back to the directives. So, yet again, there are three broad categories, and the first one has already been dealt with in the last couple of sessions. So, today we are moving to view both sides kind of directives. So, let's read this one. So this is what we have already done. Agree or disagree was done in the first session. This, to what extent do you agree or disagree, was done in the second one. And give your opinion was done in the third one. So anyone who is joining us for the first time today, you can go back and review the previous sessions on our playlist. So we have created a playlist. You can go watch them in the sequence. And then today we are starting with view both sides. So view both sides, quick revision, has four subtypes. First one is advantage, disadvantage. Second one is advantage, disadvantage plus opinion. Third one is discuss, and the fourth one is discuss plus opinion. So today we'll be dealing with the first one, which is advantage and disadvantage. So this is going to be our question of the day. So computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages. This is your question. I guess it is one of the easiest questions ever. Okay, so have a look at this question. We'll be dealing with that. But today, instead of keeping in mind task response, we'll be keeping in mind the second parameter, which is cohesion and coherence. So when we deal with today's essay, we'll be focusing on the structure and on the usage of connectors. So I'll just tell you once again what we are going to focus on. We'll be focusing on the sequencing of ideas as well as the structure and the connectors. Okay, some part of the structure has already been dealt with in the previous sessions because I wanted to give you a foundation and background to build upon to today's session. So let's get started with this one. So these are the other questions that we'll be dealing with in the future sessions. So this is the question of the day. Quickly read it, understand it, and then we'll get started. So Sharon is asking, ma'am, I have a doubt. When we write agree and disagree type essays, can we write about both? So I have dealt in detail about this particular question in the previous sessions. So I would just request you to go back and review them. That's my humble request, because if I take it up again today, it will eat up a lot of time, and I don't want to, tell the same thing again and again for the students who have already heard about it. Okay, so brainstorming, quickly tell me the advantages and disadvantages of this particular question. Computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons. Yet again, the very first sentence of your question is a statement. It is not asking you to do anything, it's just stating that computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons. Just a plain simple statement. The next sentence is your question, wherein they're asking you to discuss the advantages and disadvantages, and this is basically your directive. Okay. So Rana is asking if he can incorporate his opinion in the conclusion part. Okay. Is the question asking about your opinion here? Let's be very quick. Is the question asking about your opinion? Come on, guys, quickly. Is the question asking about your opinion? So Sohail is saying no. Garma also says no. Okay, that's good. No. What about Piyush? I would like to ask Piyush whether we have to give our opinion in this question or not. Yeah, so Piyush says it's not asking for the opinion. Then Piyush, tell me one thing. When you wrote the introduction, why did you give your opinion? I hope it's clear to you. You shouldn't be giving your opinion. You have written it's definitely a benefit for the students to have access of computers. So आप अपना opinion दे रहे हो. You are not supposed to tell whether it's advantageous or disadvantageous. As soon as you take one side, it's basically that you're giving your opinion. Am I clear? Yes, so everybody who has written that you don't have to give your opinion is perfectly correct. Okay. All right, these days. Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages? Let's brainstorm first. Okay, think about the ideas and let me know. So let's start with the advantages first. Okay. So do you guys want to see the question once more? So this is your question. So here the keywords are computers, essential, and school lessons. So you just have to focus on school lessons. You don't have to talk about office or home or something else. You just have to restrict your thinking or your ideas to school lessons. I'm already giving you this warning, or I'm already giving you this heads up that you have to focus on school here. You don't have to talk about anything else. Focus on school lessons. Computers in school lessons. Okay. Yes, so let's have a look at what you have to say. So Navpreet, you have absolutely correctly mentioned how to write this essay. So first body paragraph with advantage, second with disadvantage, and then conclusion. Perfectly fine. Okay. So okay, you guys have started paraphrasing, which is also fine. So Garima says digital media. See, media would be incorrect here because you can say digital technology, or you can simply say computers, because digital media is more like social media, so that would not be very correct. So let's not use that. Plays an important role in school sessions nowadays. Perfectly fine. You can also change the word schools here. Okay. So Shah says convenient in study. Okay, that's a good point. We can elaborate that. It's convenient to study from computers. All right. Learn from home. Example Corona. That is also fine. That you can learn from the comfort and convenience of your home. Okay. Distance learning. All right. That is also fine. Computer is popular. Where did it go? Okay, Monica says students understand easily by visuals. Perfectly fine. Good. Easily accessible. So Anu says it's easily accessible. Manpreet Kaur says distance learning. Okay, distance learning. 24 hours availability. Okay, that's also fine. Can study from their own comfortable pace. Easy way to gather information. Interactive. Very good, Garima. Interactive. Okay. Shah, easy to getting notes of previous lectures. So yeah, you can stay up to date. Shah says that we can get previous lectures as well. Okay. Easy to write and save for a long time. Videos on various topics helps the lessons to be retained in mind of the student. Very good, Monica. Yes, retention is something you can talk about. In fact, I've talked about in my essay as well. So that's good. All right. Record lectures if they want to save it. Okay. Kanika, yes, definitely these videos are applicable for general IELTS. It's also applicable for academic IELTS. So no matter which test you're taking, you can watch these videos and make the most out of them, because both the tests have essay writing in them. Okay, Anu says the computer can be used as reference for the students. Yes, definitely you can use internet to learn about a lot of topics. Sumandeep says scholars get updated with technology and become able to cope in the advanced and ever-growing competitive world. Not bad. Okay. Priyanka says making learning more interesting. Very good. Easy to understand. Okay. Less paperwork. Good. Helpful for games and e-library. Pachu. Okay, so where did games come from? School lessons is the keyword. So school, how is it beneficial when it comes to your schools? You have to tell about that. You don't have to go anywhere else. Schools alone. Convenient interactive method of learning. Very good. So let's make it the first one. So it'll be convenient and interactive method of learning. Okay, perfectly fine. And then you guys have said that abundance of information is available for referencing, scholarly work, etc., etc., etc. So abundance of information, that's what you guys told, right? Less paperwork. Okay, less paperwork is fine, but do not connect it to environment, because in any case we are not talking about environment here. The focus is school lessons. If it was a general question about the advantages of question in any situation, then definitely you could have talked about saving the environment, reducing deforestation. But in this question, if you write about deforestation, it would go wrong. Okay, so you can write about deforestation and saving paper only in context with the question that's talking about the advantages of computers in general and not with regards to school lessons. Okay. Joyful manner alongside entertainment. Okay. Store information for. Okay, so storage is another one. Okay. Graphical representation. So let's just write interactive as the umbrella term for graphical representation. Interesting, animated, creative. So let's just use interactive for now, because these are just like keywords for your advantages. Breaks monotony. Okay, that's interactive. That also comes under interactive, because anything that's interactive is interesting and it would not be boring. So yeah, it's going to come under that itself. Knowledge skills for futures, grasping. Okay, interactive graphical representation, more easy. Okay, it also helps. All right, I guess we have more or less dealt with the advantages, but do you guys realize that you have given advantages only from the perspective of the student? What about the teachers? How are computers going to benefit the teachers? Because school lessons also involve teachers. So teachers को क्या फायदा होगा? Can you guys think about it? Okay. So visualization will also come here. If you guys are really interested, I'll write it. Visualization, that's a really good word to use, in fact, visualization, and then you can write creative, animated. Okay, so these are the words you can write, and then you can say grasping, convenient, interesting. Yes, interesting is one more word. Then you can write it's not monotonous, so you can write all of that. Effective teaching, perfectly fine. You don't have to use blackboard and chalk anymore. So effective teaching, and you can say that they can use it as effective teaching aids and make the lectures interesting for the students. So effective teaching is what you can write. Less work for teachers, perfectly fine. They don't have to work a lot, they don't have to write and erase, so the burden on teachers also reduces. So perfectly fine. Now here advantages can be thought of from two perspectives. One is how is the student going to get benefited, and the other one is how the teacher is going to get benefited. So you can think from both the perspectives. Now yet again, let me clarify, even if you write only about students, it's still correct. Okay, advantages to students, that's also fine, but I'm just giving you different ways of thinking. Okay, brainstorming or idea generation is actually an issue for a lot of people because they struggle to write or think of ideas. So this is how you can think from different perspectives. Who all come under the school lessons? The ones who are teaching and the ones who are being taught. So you can tell the advantages on both of these. How will the teachers get benefited and how will the students get benefited? All right. Okay, let's quickly move on to the disadvantages. Okay, Sumandeep says less burden of delivering lecture continually by speaking and they can pay more attention to. Okay, so this comes under effective teaching itself. Okay, perfectly fine. Diagrams, graphs, so graphical representation and all of that. You can write that. Video lectures. Okay. So disadvantages, strain or eyes. So perfectly fine. So let me write the broader term. Health issues. Strain or eyes. Okay. Eye problems, bad effect on eye, harmful eyesight. All right. So many of you have written the same disadvantage. Okay. So Piyush has written from the perspective of the school administration that computers would increase the expenses, and power backup would be required, internet connection would be required. Now that surely is one disadvantage, but I won't say that it's very relevant because thinking about the expenses, I don't think that the schools would stop using computers. And similarly, like imagine all the offices these days, like 90% of the offices are well equipped with computers. Now you can't give the argument that they are expensive and also that they are going to cause a lot of power usage, so we should not be using them and we should go back to paper and pen. So you need to kind of weigh your disadvantages so and also advantages. So I would say yes, definitely that's one disadvantage, but it's not very relevant. Okay, so we would be writing the disadvantages that are relevant. Okay. Eyesight. All right. Confuse and mislead students. Sumandeep says teachers will also be able to throw away the conventional and tiresome methods with use of teaching aids, it's not teacher aids, teaching aids such as blackboard chalk that are harmful for the skin. Personal experience. Okay, so Sumandeep is probably a teacher, and I get your concern yet again, but this point is yet again not relevant if you write about skin problem. So it'll not be that relevant, but strain on eyes is definitely more relevant than that skin problem. So I hope you understand why it's not that relevant. So let's move ahead. Yeah, so you can say age specific issues. So you can say that the older staff or the elderly staff will not be trained. So, or you can say they would have to like you would have to give them special training on how to use these latest technologies, how to operate laptops, how to get it connected to the Wi-Fi, how to make a PPT. So all of that is needed, and they will have to be trained. So yes, that could be one disadvantage. All right. Okay, now again, since the advantages were from the perspective of students and teachers, now tell me how will these guys be affected? So you have given this for teachers, perfect. You have given physical health issues for students. Anything else that comes to your mind? Any other disadvantage? Okay. Malfunction would create problem, all right. Oh, good. Sumandeep says can reduce the value of teacher. So value of teacher, that's fine. Value of teacher, because now you get so much of content on YouTube, on other social media, that you don't feel that you should actually get in touch with an actual teacher and talk to them, because you think that I can Google the question and get the answer of that question instantaneously. So I don't really have to respect the teachers as such. So yeah, that could be one point, but you have to write it very appropriately. Okay, it should come out well. You should be able to express the point in a good manner. Students become lazy, lethargy. Okay, yet again, you will have to explain it properly. Expensive for some people, concentration will be decreased compared to traditional. Now, I'm not very sure. Concentration is subjective. For some, it will increase with the usage of computers. For some, it will decrease. So, yet again, you have to see which side you're favoring. Face-to-face interaction, not attraction, it'll be interaction. Teachers will not get personal attention. Okay, so good point. Here we can write it here itself, I guess. Value of teacher, interpersonal relationship. Okay, and we can also say face-to-face interaction, so that would get reduced. Health issues, perfect. Cervical, posture issues, eye strain. Yeah, so here strain of eyes, you can write posture issues. Handwriting, I don't think that'll be a good point. What we can write instead of that would be dependency on basic skills. Dependency for basic skills. So now basic skills such as, basic maths, even for basic maths they'll end up using calculators. For for basic spellings or the spellings of the words, they'll start using spell check. Even we guys do that, spell check, autocorrect, grammarly. So a lot of people are dependent upon these features, and they end up relying on them way more than they should. So they would feel really, if they don't have these things available for them, and when they're writing, so they would feel that they need those features and they need those spell checks to correct them. So that's something that your basic skills, basic mathematical skills, basic language skills would take a back seat. You will not be able to perform the basic skills on your own, right? And this is what a lot of my students also face. A lot of people call us and tell that the major problem is of spellings and also of grammar, because when you're typing in your offices or in your schools or colleges, nowadays we are so habitual of this particular thing that we don't really notice that we are getting dependent on autocorrect so frequently. Even while we are using WhatsApp, we just click on the prediction button, or we just not notice the spellings because it gets corrected automatically. So that's something that you should look into while you're taking this. Lose independent way of thinking. Okay, you can say that, but then you have to explain it again properly. So you have to think about how you'll be explaining it. Special child require personal attention and care of teacher. Okay, you can also say that if you want to. Very good. So Dev has come with a great explanation. If you put that particular point into a good sentence, it'll come out as a very effective way of creating a point. So unsupervised use of computers can lead to distractions in students, and that would waste their time, lower the efficiency, and lead to poor academic scores or poor performance in your school examinations. So we can talk about distractions. Distractions, loss of information. So what if there's a virus, or maybe your windows get corrupt or something of that sort happens, you'll lose all your information. And then you can talk about cyber crimes. The children could be a victim to cyberbullying. So you can write about bullying, cyberbullying. So there are a lot of advantages, there are a lot of disadvantages. You have to think what you have to write. So वो आपकी मर्जी है, whatever comes to your mind, you can write that, both for teachers and for students. And yeah. Okay, so should we go back to our PPT? Is this clear? So these are not all. We have a lot more advantages. वो भी हम लिख सकते हैं. You can write as many advantages as you want to while you're brainstorming. But in your actual essay, 2 are more than sufficient. Okay. So let's go back. So this was our question, and we have discussed it so far. Revision. So to maintain coherence, you have to write in paragraphs. The first paragraph that we have is introduction. It has 3 sentences, paraphrasing the question, thesis statement, and the outline sentence. The students who have just joined us, I would recommend them to watch the previous session so that they know more about these things. So first of all, you have to paraphrase the question. Please quickly do that. Then you have to write the thesis statement, but only in the case of your opinion questions. So as most of you said that this is not an opinion question, this is something that you should not be writing. Thesis statement nahi likhna hai in this particular question. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay guys, start writing simultaneously. I don't want to drag the session a lot longer. So साथ साथ practice करो. Keep writing it on your notepad or keep typing it on a notepad in your computer. So that's your choice. Quickly. So here we'll have just 2 sentences. One is paraphrasing the question. The other one is the outline sentence. And then the next paragraph after your introduction would be body paragraph. So if you guys, yeah, this would be body paragraph. Here again, open the body paragraph with an introductory line about what the paragraph will talk about. आप क्या कहना चाहते हो? That should be written in your first line. That what are you going to talk about in the paragraph? The second thing that you have to write is your first main idea, elaborate it, discuss it properly, and follow it up with an example or a survey. And then same thing has to be repeated for your second point. State the second point, explain it, give an example. Then move on to your second body paragraph and repeat the entire thing again. Okay, this is how your body paragraph would look like. Today, this is the new thing, conclusion kaise likhna hai. How do we write our conclusion? So there are two don'ts. Do not add any new information. You should not be adding any new information in your conclusion. Maybe you come up with a very brilliant idea in the end of your essay. You know, you have written your introduction, you have written your body paragraphs, but as soon as you start writing your conclusion, maybe a brilliant PhD level point or idea pops up in your head. Do not write it. Sustain that urge. Do not write that particular point, because we are concluding. Any point that you have to write, any new idea that you have to write would be written in your body paragraphs, not in your introduction or in your conclusion. Okay. So do not write any new information. Do not restate your ideas. Whatever you have written in your body paragraphs, you have already written that. Khatam kahani. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. Your reader or the examiner who's going through your essay has already read your body paragraphs. Now again, if in your conclusion you keep saying the same things again and again, they will get bored. Number one. Number two, you'll end up repeating yourself. Number three, you'll end up repeating the vocabulary. So that will be detrimental for your lexical resource parameter. So do not do that. What should we do then? We should just wind up our essays by keeping in mind the question. What did the question ask? Accordingly, you have to wind up your essay as well as your opinion, if any. Now, in this question, there's no opinion, so you just have to wind up your answer by keeping in mind the question. However, if there's some opinion, you also have to include that opinion in your conclusion. Any questions with regards to conclusion today? Amrit Pal is asking how many words should be written in the introduction. There is no such word limit for your introduction. Ideally, it should be 30 to 50 words, but there is no fixed limit. So, 3 to 5 sentences are more than enough, not more than that. Okay, Monica, that's fine. This essay will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using the digital technology in schools. Okay, Anjali says nowadays digital media has gained momentum in schools too for teaching and learning the topics in the curriculum. Okay, you're welcome, Amritpal. Let's get back. Any questions with the conclusion? This is something new that we are doing today. So conclusion is clear. No new information. No restating your ideas. जो पहले आपने body paragraphs में ideas लिखे हैं, you don't have to write them again. And these were the votes. So 67% of you mentioned that or wanted me to discuss a pre-written essay word by word, and 33 wanted me to write it live. So democracy, and we would go by the people who vote the most. So the majority of people wanted me to write it beforehand and discuss it in detail during the session. So that is what we'll be doing now. So let's get started. So for your introduction, so how do we write the introduction? So let me just write the question here as well. So this is our question. This is our question, and this would be our introduction. So this is what I had written. Now you can write anything. I've already made it very clear कि कुछ भी लिख सकते हो. It should be just very clear. So latest technology such as computers are becoming an indispensable part of learning at educational institutions. You can remove this part and straight away start with computers as well. So that's your choice. And it has both merits and demerits, and this essay will discuss the same in detail. So this particular part is basically your paraphrasing. You have to paraphrase the question. So the question was this: computers are becoming an essential part of school lessons, and we have changed it into this. So this statement or this sentence is paraphrasing the question. So sentence 1 done. We don't have to write any thesis statement in this question because this question is not asking our opinion. So we quickly move on to our outline sentence. This becomes our outline sentence. It has both merits and demerits, and this essay will discuss the same in detail. So you can write shed light on both the viewpoints or whatever you want to write. So this is one way of writing. So that was your introduction. So if you notice the slide, I hope so far everyone who's watching this video is clear about the introduction. This is how you have to write your introduction. Let's move on to the body paragraphs. So this is what the body paragraph should look like. First of all, you have to write an introductory line. So let's see what we have written. Okay, so this is your body paragraph 1. So now we also have to learn connectors. So this is your first connector. I'll just use, let's say let's use red itself. So on the one hand, this is your connector. Okay, this is a linking word which is connecting your introduction to your first body paragraph. So we have written, on the one hand, it will be mutually beneficial for the students and the tutors. So what we have done here is we have written one introductory line कि हम क्या बोलने वाले हैं और what are we going to talk about in this particular essay. So introductory line is basically this: it will be mutually beneficial for the students and tutors. Okay, to begin with, this again is a connector here. The former can access abundance of information at just the click of a button through the internet. For instance, so here F has to be capital. Okay. Okay, for instance, they can complete their projects or the projects and assignments by referring to Wikipedia. So they can use Wikipedia and, learn a lot, and Google in general. So this is our example. So what have we done? We have given one opening statement, our main idea, we have elaborated it, and we have given an example which is Google and Wikipedia. So this is what we have done. Then we have started with our second point, which is moreover. This again is your connector here, and also for instance is also a connector. The latter, so latter here refers to the tutors. The latter can utilize the modern methodology of teaching, which is the opposite of conventional methodology of teaching, by delivering lectures in the form of interactive, innovative, creative, audio-video lectures, which the pupils find interesting. Here you can write a lot more things like find interesting, and they grasp their attention and increase their attention span. Who can write anything? This is just one way of writing it. Okay. According to a recent study, it has been observed that children who are taught using computers have 5 times more retention and score much better in their academics as compared to the ones who do not. So yet again, what we have done is we have given 1 point. Okay, this is a point. Utilize the modern methodology of teaching by delivering lectures in the form of interactive, creative, audio video lectures. This is our point. Then we are giving its explanation, which is that they would find it interesting and they would be motivated to learn more, they would not get bored, and then we are giving one survey. All right, then we write our second body paragraph, which would be, let's see what I've written. So on the other hand, so far we had talked about the positives. So now because we are moving from the positives to the negatives, we are going to use another connector which is on the other hand. And let me be very clear, on the one hand and on the other hand are used in pairs. Do not use one of them individually. So they have to be used in pairs. So on the one hand, it also has certain negative consequences. So I don't know why negative is being highlighted that much. Okay, anyhow. So this is yet again the introductory sentence. Okay, this part is the introductory sentence, this one. Okay, introductory line that we're going to talk about disadvantages. So that's done. And then we are using the other connector, which is firstly, wherein we are stating our first point. They can become highly dependent upon features such as Grammarly, spell check, calculators, that they would end up relying on them even for the simplest of tasks. सबसे easy 2+2 करने के लिए भी some people use calculators. So we should be avoiding that. Secondly, it will deteriorate the bond between the teacher and their pupils, thereby diminishing their interpersonal skills to a large extent. Here, after that, you can add one survey or an example. You can tell how people are becoming lonely because they lack interpersonal skills. They do not know how to talk to another person. They end up withdrawing themselves from the society. अकेले ही रहते हैं कुछ लोग, अपने में ही रहते हैं. They don't talk to other people because they're so engrossed with their computers. They're so engrossed with the technology or internet that they have lost their interpersonal skills and they're unable to basically communicate with other people. So you can add one such survey or example here. So that is your homework. You can add that line here, or you can also make some other changes if you want to. So last but not the least, let's write the conclusion. So here is the conclusion again. We just have to wind up our essay by keeping in mind the question, and if the question has asked us for our opinion, we'll also give that. So here, conclusion. Okay. So हमने क्या लिखा है इस essay में? We have just talked about the advantages and disadvantages of computers in a school setting. So we'll just wind up like that itself. We'll be saying to recap. So this is how you conclude your essay. To recapitulate, as discussed above, the usage of computers in educational settings has both benefits and drawbacks. Simple. You don't have to put a lot of brain here. Here, obviously, you can write laptops instead of computers, or you can write technology, latest technology. जो लिखना है आप लिख सकते हो. But basically, the closing line or the bottom line is that the conclusion should be very simple, straightforward. It should just, combine whatever you're trying to say in the essay. So to recapitulate, this is another connector. Here we have such as, which is also a connector that connects the part of the sentence. Then let's see, do we have other connectors here? According to a recent study is also a connector. To begin with, so all of these are connectors. And for your kind information, even words like and are connectors. They're connecting two parts of the sentences. So all of these are basically helping you out in connecting different sentences and connecting different parts of the paragraphs. So that's it for today. I hope the Conclusion part is clear, so let's move back. See, we have dealt with logical sequencing of ideas, how one paragraph is devoted to advantages, the other paragraph is devoted to disadvantages. Imagine if we wrote it alternatively, like one advantage, one disadvantage, one advantage, one disadvantage. It would have been so confusing. So that is called logical sequencing of ideas. So we have done this. Write in a structured manner. We have also dealt with this. We have written in a very structured manner. And lastly, we have also used connectors. I've highlighted all the connectors that have been used, more or less all the connectors. So these are the connectors that we have used. So this is how your essay will look like. And that's about it for today. So this was your conclusion for the last time. You can have a look at it here. And thank you so much. This is some more information about us. We also offer one-to-one personal personalized and courses on Skype, so you can enroll into those courses, learn from us, and that's it. You can join the courses. You just have to give us a call and register for that, and you would get individual attention from our trainers. It is going to be one-to-one, which basically means one trainer, one student. So you get dedicated attention from that particular trainer. You can ask as many questions as you want to, and then it's a very practical approach. Basically, each session with us is a mock test in itself, and once you enroll with us, we'll give you homework on a daily basis, and your homework will be corrected during the sessions, and we'll be giving you feedback on a daily basis. All you have to do is improve upon that feedback and learn from that, and we assure you that by the end of the classes or by the end of the course, you will see tremendous improvement in your IELTS performance in all the 4 modules. Yes, we also offer flexibility of timing. So we have students from all over the world, from Canada, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Australia, New Zealand, obviously India, and a lot more countries. So we are offering flexible timings according to each of the time zones. And the fee structure is affordable, and undoubtedly the quality is unbeatable. So you can trust us. The sessions that you're looking at right now, the live sessions that we are giving you, the personalized one-to-one sessions would be even more better or much better than what we are offering you right now, because there we can actually listen to you. It's not going to be like one-way communication. Now you can only text and you can only type and send your queries, and I cannot take up all the queries as well. So when you're taking the one-to-one classes with us on Skype, Bottom, IMO, or Zoom, basically you'll be able to get in touch with us, and it's going to be bi-directional. आप भी बात कर सकते हो, हम भी बात कर सकते हैं. So it's going to be much more productive and much more beneficial. So if you're interested, you can do that. You can enroll into our course. And one last suggestion is that this is the best time to enroll into the courses and to learn and prepare for your IELTS test, because we are all under quarantine. So we all have plenty of time at home. Even if you're working from home, before your work and after your work, you're relatively free. You don't have much to do. So you can utilize this golden opportunity by preparing for the IELTS test and also by enrolling into the course to make the most out of your time. So that's it from my side. If you have any doubts, let's just take it up for the 2 minutes to come. You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much for staying with me, and thank you so much for watching the entire session. I hope it was helpful. If you have any suggestions, if you have any recommendations how I can improve myself, you can drop those suggestions in the comment section below. If you have some constructive criticism, and if you want to appreciate, that is also most welcome. So you can do both the things in the comment section, and also you can write your doubts, anything that has been missed that I couldn't take up in the session. You can write your doubts in the comment section. Piyush, that is too much of demanding right now. This takes a lot of time and energy. So I understand your concerns. Let's get done with the 15 days challenge. And once we are done with it, maybe after a break of a couple of days, we can start up with reading and listening. So we can also do that. However, if you're in a hurry, you can enroll into our one-to-one courses. You're welcome, Anu. I hope you liked the session. I hope it was good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Piyush, once again. Okay. So yeah, Amrit Pal has asked the meaning of latter. Latter means the second half of something. So in this particular question, in this particular essay, I have written former for students because that's the first half of the sentence. So students is former, and latter refers to the second half, which is tutors. So latter is for tutors, and former is for students. Okay. All right. I hope Amritpal has cleared your doubt. Okay, Manpreet, you have written pros and cons. Now, pros and cons are used in informal language, so you should not be writing any informal words in your essay. So, please do not write pros and cons. You can use the other synonyms like benefits, drawbacks, merits, demerits, advantages, and disadvantages. Yes, Sumandeep, you can write some are aforementioned in the essay. Okay, that's fine. With relevant examples. Okay. All right, I guess we are done for the day then. You guys have been really interactive, and I appreciate that you guys are eager to learn so much, and that keeps me motivated. That's why every day I'm coming up with sessions and new questions and new essays. So stay tuned and stick around because that motivates us. So thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much, Dev Patel, and hope to see you tomorrow in the session again. So bye bye, take care.